Welcome back to Sherlock Holmes and the case of the silver earring. In the last episode, we're trying to get outside and figure out what Watson's doing, but there were some things I missed. Now, I got a pretty good idea. After the last episode, I kind of looked at all my notes, and there were some things that I kind of did or didn't do. So, if we look at the notebook, okay, so this letter was read by Dr. Watson at the very, very start of the game. And we've read that. We've read the speech. We've looked at the guest list. That's what this is over here. We picked up a card, but we didn't look at it. Okay, so Louis Philippe de la whatever, Imperial head waiter. Anyway, this is the French guy. And then we found a photograph that we looked at in the ladies' room. And it's this lady here. And this is Virginia Davenport. So I don't remember looking at those. So we got that out of the way. Now, we also talked to the chef in the kitchen. And he mentioned that he thought Mary used that waste bin, but we never talked to Mary after that. And as you found out with the guy that's sweeping over there, we can come back and talk to them again once we get more information. So I never did talk to Mary again after finding out that she used that bin.
Any more questions?
Yeah. Did you use the garbage?
Did you go to the well during the reception?
Yes, I went there once to empty my bucket, but that was before the dreadful shooting happened.
Only once?
I told you, only the one time. I even called out to that lout Carl not to fall asleep. Oh, he spends his time drinking in the storeroom, and I often find him asleep there. Oh, but please, sir, you won't mention any of that to Miss Lambert, will you?
No. Can you tell me about that French guy?
And the Frenchman, how could you describe him?
He's a sly one. He's also cross-eyed. Oh, but most handsome and very talkative. Ask Miss Lambert. She's quite keen on him.
Really?
Thank you, Mary.
Not to worry, sir.
So, anyway, we're just catching up on some things. Now, there was one other thing. There was a smoking room. I don't remember a smoking room. And maybe that was the door that had to... No, this isn't it. Oh, maybe I'm lost again. Nope, that's not it. And this is the kitchen. This isn't it. I'm lost again. Okay. Let's go back out here. What's here? This is it. Okay. I was in here. Or was I? Oh, right. There were some ashes here. So, what's that?
I need something.
Yeah. What? Magnifying glass?
I need something.
No. Tape measure?
It is a size 7.
Size 7 what? Oh, I see it now. Right there. And right there. And right there. They're footsteps. Okay, a size 7 shoe. Great. I think I got everything else in here. Okay, now there was something else. Oh, how do we get back out of here? I need to get back to the banquet hall. This one. Okay, there was one other thing. When I thought about talking to everybody, And if you remember, I came back and talked to this guy. Now, I talked to this old fart, and he wouldn't talk to us. And then we went down and we talked to the daughter and the other guy that was with the daughter. And then when we came back, this guy came and defended the daughter. But we didn't talk to him after we got back through that conversation. When we came back up here, we talked to the old guy. We didn't talk to the young guy.
Were you at that precise spot at the moment of the murder?
Indeed, I was standing just there. I could easily see the door because there were so few people in front of me.
Tell me about the shot.
What did you do right after the shot was fired?
I left the room as did almost everyone. I must leave now and make my excuses to Miss Lavinia for my behaviour, don't you think?
Okay.
Thank you for your help.
It was not a problem.
I asked myself, what was Watson doing while I was searching the house? He was supposed to prevent people from leaving by the back entrance.
There
Here
we
now,
go.
watch your step. If you're a reporter, there'd better be a doctor nearby, because when I get done with you, you'll need one.
Look here, my good man, I am a doctor. Dr. Watson, in fact, and believe me...
Dr. Watson? Hold on. Are you the Dr. Watson who writes about all those cases solved by Sherlock Holmes? I've read all your adventures.
You have? Who are you?
Who are you?
My name is Lamb, Governor. I'm Sir Bromsby's coachman. Tell me, is he really that clever, this Sherlock Holmes?
Well, how am I supposed to answer that?
Look sharp, Lamb. Sherlock Holmes and I require your able assistance.
No doubt.
Stand firm at the private entrance and make sure no one enters or leaves until Holmes or myself returns.
My pleasure, Dr. Watson. You tell Mr. Holmes that if anybody even steps on the lawn, they'll have to deal with Lamb. And I can tell you, there are few bold enough to dare my fists.
Tell me about this door.
This door is blocked.
That gate is the only way in or out of here, Dr. Watson. I've already secured the other door on orders of Miss Lambert to avoid them nosy reporters. If anyone tries to make a break through the garden, they won't get past me.
I leave you, Lamb.
Right, I'll stand guard.
Oh, who are all these people? Hello?
Miss Lambert, I have been looking for you. What a tragedy.
Simply dreadful. Can't believe what they're saying about Miss Lavinia.
Can you tell me about the gates?
Why did you open the gate so hastily?
I was so upset. I know now it was imprudent. I should have waited until the authorities arrived, but some of those gentlemen were so loudly insistent that I yielded.
The police? Tell me about the police.
Have you informed the police?
The village constable attended the reception. He left on his bicycle, I assume to inform the proper authorities. He told me that an inspector from Scotland Yard was already in the area on official business. I know nothing about the nature of his business, but I was told he should arrive soon.
Can you tell me about Sir Bromsby?
What sort of man was your employer?
Oh, he was a great man. The people of the hall considered him to be very strict, but I think it was just his way of showing a fatherly attitude. And he dreamed of this day when Miss Lavinia would return.
Okay, and can you tell me about all the other guests?
You have a list of guests.
Oh, of course. I have a complete guest list for the reception. It's inside the dining room. I believe the police will have need of it. Well, nevertheless, I must first caution them to pay little heed to the notations I made regarding certain names.
Why were these notations made?
Their purpose was to note particular seating arrangements for the meal and the recital, according to specific concerns. Those individuals whom I considered to be very important were marked with a circle.
What about the other odd marks?
Louis-Philippe, Monsieur de la Musardière, suggested this method of arranging the seating. He also advised me that those guests with poor eyesight and hearing should be seated so that the acoustics and lighting in their room would favour their enjoyment of the recital. So the first category was marked with a point, the second with a cross.
Can you tell me about this Frenchman?
What do you know about this Frenchman?
He is from a noble family, but found himself forced to seek a vocation as a head waiter. He is so inspired and keenly sensitive to the details. At first, I was afraid that Sir Bromsby would take offence with his suggestions, but he had moderated his opinions regarding French culture due to the influence of his friend Horace Fowlett.
What did he do that was so extraordinary?
His assistance was invaluable. He took such concerns with every little detail. The dishes, the tablecloths, everything. He not only declined an offer of lodging here at the Hall, he also deferred his wages until the end of the reception. Oh, I would be so glad if he were here now.
Where is this guy?
And where has he gone?
He had pressing business in London. In fact, he found it necessary to visit his Harley Street physician. It seems his glasses were no longer helping with his eyesight.
Well, that's all very interesting.
You have been very kind, Miss Lambert.
You are most welcome. Oh, what a tragedy.
Okay, so this guest list, we now know what the notifications were for. All right, so she answered a question on the guest list. That's what these are for. Okay, is that an I? And it's an I for sight and an X for hearing. So Colonel Patterson was both. Here's somebody else that couldn't hear, Metcalf. Miss Roundtree had poor eyesight. And then the circle was, let me see, I wrote that down. Circle was, okay, the circle was for important people. So Mrs. Umbridge, we got Sweeney, Greystock, and Speed. I have no idea who those people are. All righty, let's turn around and take a look behind us. All right, let's see about these people that are just milling around here. What's this guy's story?
Hello. Please excuse me. I'm investigating the murder that has just happened.
Oh, yes. Well, that is good. What would you like to know?
Tell me about the gunshot.
Where were you at the moment when Sir Bromsby was killed?
I was near the stage, and I saw him falling. Oh, my goodness. It was terrifying. I ran for the door, but despite all my efforts, it was blocked.
That's weird.
But your costume is torn. How did this happen?
When I was trying to open the door, the crowd dragged me away. I then fell to the floor. I fortunately suffered no harm, but when I arose, my beautiful costume was ripped and stained.
Interesting. Didn't we find some piece of cloth on a chair?
Well, I won't disturb you anymore.
Yes, no, fine, thanks.
All right, and these yahoos. Let's talk to the bottle guy.
Yeah.
And you, what are you doing here?
I'm waiting for Miss Roundtree, the niece of that banker chap. She is inconsolable, all because her admirer of a mere 3 days' acquaintance had already abandoned her. Nothing unusual about that. There is no worse-tempered female than this girl. Well, maybe other than my wife.
Oh my God.
Ah.
What a pig. Did you hear the gunshot?
You heard the shot.
I just left to relieve myself there at the end of the garden, you see. Seems to me I missed a good race for the doors. Worthy of the Royal Derby.
All right.
Well, good.
Cheers.
And what's your story?
Excuse me, may I speak with you?
Yeah, your servant, sir.
Why are you here?
Are you one of the domestics employed by the hall?
No, I am the personal servant to old Satterthwaite. He is there, sitting on that bench. He seems right enough, but he refused a small drink for his health. Surely he cannot be well.
Tell me about the shot.
Tell me, what have you seen?
I heard the shot, then such a strange noise, and the next thing I know, all those money bags are running in a mad rush with their wives or whatever.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you for your help.
My pleasure.
His pleasure. How about this guy?
Well, my good man, why are you here?
I am the manservant of Lieutenant Harrington. I accompanied him with the old general of the infantry or whatever. I seem to have drunk too much.
Yeah, you look like you're cross-eyed. Did you even hear the shot?
Did you hear the shot?
What shot? Oh, the shot. Great reception, isn't it?
That was it? All right.
I have to go. Are you all right?
Very good. Bye, madam.
Well, that guy's going to have a headache. All right, let's go talk to these ladies over here. One of them is a maid, and the other one, I'm not sure.
Are you a relative of the victim?
No. In truth, I always mocked Sir Bromsby. I am upset because my friend did not arrive as promised.
As beautiful as she is cruel, apparently.
Geez, I guess. Somebody gets murdered and she's just worried that her boyfriend didn't show up.
Do you work here, miss?
Yes, my name is Sue. I am a maid for the hall.
Okay. Can you tell me about the shot?
Where were you when these tragic events took place?
I was serving when it happened. I ran straight for the door, just like the others. I swear his daughter must have done it. She's such a strange one.
Yeah.
Thank you, miss. We may talk with you again.
Oh, I hope so.
I have questioned everyone here. I'll go see if Holmes has finished on his end. Holmes! The gate!
I know, Watson, but it is of no real consequence. To question all these people would be a tiresome activity and would be of no value to this inquiry. Such ordinary inquiries are best left to the police. They have their purposes.
As you like, Holmes.
Now, Watson, to put your mind at rest, I can see that you have done well in my absence by placing the formidable coachman at the gate. I also imagine you have already spoken with Miss Lambert?
Yes, and some other people too.
Hold your report until I return to Baker Street. Meanwhile, be a good man and look to the gate. I must be informed the moment any official arrives. As always, I depend on your able assistance, Watson.
Yes, of course he does. All right, let's go talk to the gatekeeper. What's that? That white speck.
I need something.
Magnifying glass, maybe? What else is this? Is that a footprint? That's this footprint, isn't it? Okay. What was it? Cigarette butt? Chur. Cigarette butt. A chur. Is that a brand? Okay. So we found some footsteps inside were size 7. What are these?
It is a size 7.
Aha. It's a clue. Okay, how do we get out of this? How do I stand up? All right, now what? Aha, here comes somebody.
Holmes!
Good day, Lestrade. Your haste deserves comment. One could say that you were right to hurry here, as this case is one of great complexity and challenge. Do not worry. I think that you will manage to get back to your mother before the dinner hour.
In the name of Devil, Holmes, you go too far. Do you spy on me now? How do you know I've been to my mother's?
Dear Lestrade, it is really quite simple. I must admit my mind has been stimulated by the main course, which would be this unique case. However, I sometimes enjoy a light snack of the details which surround it. Observe, we are in the middle of the countryside, and you have some fresh yellow pollen, but only on your right sleeve. This implies a recent gift of flowers. It is a gallant gesture, but surely a meeting with the fairer of our species would take place in London. Considering the promptness of your arrival, it must have been a bouquet of flowers you took to someone who lives in this area. I presume that you have family living nearby, and I would think only your mother would warrant such an attentive gesture. There is a fresh dab of fat at the corner of your mouth, as well as on the bit of handkerchief visible from your pocket. This is consistent with a recent meal of a big piece of steak. Who would make a policeman swallow such a substantial meal at this hour, and when a crime has been just committed? It could only be a mother thinking about the hard task awaiting her child.
Well, Holmes, when you explain it like that, it really seems quite simple. Good show. What about this Bromsby murder?
A unique case, as I've already noted, but any supposition would be premature until we consider Dr. Watson's report, as well as your own findings. Miss Lavinia has asked that the esteemed Dr. Watson and I give this case our full attention, though I doubt she is aware of all the implications of this case. Lestrade, you can find the victim inside, and I recommend calling upon his solicitor, Mr. Horace Fowlett. Mrs. Hudson is cooking a roast tomorrow at noon. Why don't you be our guest, and we can share our discoveries? What do you think? Watson and I must take our leave, as there's much to be done at Baker Street. Are you coming, Watson? Let us return to Baker Street.
Okay, how do we get there? Baker Street.
Everything is well noted. Watson, bravo. All of these elements will be a great help to us. As for myself, I have already told you everything that I know, and I can tell you nothing more until I receive answers to the messages I have sent with Wiggins. Now I must return to my experiments to test my theory regarding the substance I found at the scene of the murder. Meanwhile, I suggest you look through the books in the bookcase. Information that you find there might prove very useful in resolving this case.
I have to check 3 books on the shelves. Let's see.
Okay. 3 books, he says. Anyone in particular? Aha. All right, so we can't pick anything from the top row, but we can from the second row. Okay. Evidently, we got a book. And where did it go? In the inventory? A book about footprints. We can deduce the height and mass of any individual through a simple examination of their footprints left upon the ground. This is possible even should their stride be unremarkable. The stride is often shortened when an individual is moving with great caution to avoid detection, either prior to or immediately after they have committed a crime. This hypothesis corresponds to almost every case. There are some exceptions. False conclusions are possible when the person who left the footprint comes from a region of the world where the morphology in regards to the feet is unusual. Consider the Chinese tradition imposed upon females born of noble families. They are compelled by such tradition to have their feet bound and squeezed from a tender age till the day of their wedding. Okay, is that it? Yes, so. All right, next book. So we have another book. Ballistic science. Thus, it is easier to derive information about the author of a revolver shot if we know that they had aimed with great care. The situation is ideal if the shooter was in an enclosed space. Under pressure, a portion of the powder normally adheres to the walls at the level of the shooter's eyes. It is enough to add approximately 15 centimeters to the height of the powder marks to arrive at an approximation of the shooter's stature, accurate to within 1 or 2 centimeters. So that mark on the wall was gunpowder.
Here is information which could be really helpful in our investigation.
Yes. And the third book, A Study of Tobacco. After authorization, this local herb is mixed with tobacco leaves in the manufacture of cigarettes. After authorization, this local herb is mixed with tobacco leaves in the manufacture of cigarettes, primarily by the Chirapacue Company. Man, that can't be right. It is unlikely that this particular blend of tobacco would be found any place other than Brazil or even outside the Amazonian basin, primarily because the calming effect of this tobacco mixture is a significant cause of industrial and agriculture decline in the production of this tobacco. It is common to encounter a Brazilian peasant who indifferently watches a bird steal the tobacco seeds that he has just planted in the ground. Invariably, you will also observe a small pile in the flaky ash, characteristics of this tobacco, near his feet.
And these Chirapacue cigarettes come from Brazil, and they seem to contain narcotic substances. What might they be?
I need to analyze the evidence found at Sherringford Hall. A piece of white cloth, a small box, various powders, and finally the hair. Let's get to work.
Okay, now Holmes collected a lot of stuff, so I think I'm going to wait until the next episode to get into that. I don't want to start and then end up this thing going an hour. So I'm going to end it here. I hope to see you in the next episode. Ta-ta for now.